The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to Liberated Sisters. This is our first show coming to you live right here at Morris Media Studios, streaming at MorrisMediaLive.com. Thank you all who rode with us last year and who are joining us today. And I pray that you all are experiencing Allah God's peace, mercy, and blessings in this new year. Today's show is on disaster preparedness. Our guest is Sister Anissah Muhammad, and I got a title right here, a great sister here. She is the Executive Director of Sisters for Life Health Equity Group. Again, Anissah Muhammad. She will be coming to us in the second half of the show with disaster preparedness. Are you ready? Am I ready? Are we ready to survive? I was about to say to throw down. No, that's that old song. But first, the Justice Report. Today's Justice Report comes out of the Final Call newspaper. We are talking about the young, gifted, and bold in 2019. This is our lead story for the Final Call newspaper. You can pick it up at finalcall.com. finalcall.com. There are also some very riveting stories there in addition to that cover story. And it is the story about a young woman attacked by a white man and she's fighting back. We all saw that video. That was the little sister serving a customer at McDonald's. And so he snatched her, collared her, and she started throwing fire bombs. But some things that happened in the back of the backdrop were that they continued serving this person. The manager took his receipt. The guy says, I was harassed, but no one moved to help her. They pulled her. No one escorted him out of the store. A lot of things went wrong with that. And so that's one of the stories I wanted to pick up in the Final Call newspaper, as well as the cover story, 5 young activists to watch in 2019. The Justice Report feature stories today will be analyzed by Brother Jesse Muhammad. He is the social media director of the Minister Louis Farrakhan's, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's social media accounts, but also a lot more that he does. But what I want to bring Brother Jesse in to talk about momentarily is the fact that Mumia Abu Jamal has been granted the right to a new appeal, y'all. Brother Mumia has been granted a victory in that sense. Brother Jesse is going to delve into that, as well as Cyntoia Brown, the little teenage girl who went to jail. She was sentenced to 51 years for murdering the person that was sex trafficking and abusing her. She was granted clemency. So, Brother Jesse Muhammad, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing, sir?
I am doing wonderful. Always happy to be on the line with you, and I want to wish God's peace and blessings to you and your listeners here in this new year, 2019.
That's right. Thank you for that. And we received that. We need that. So, Brother Jesse, let's start with Mumia, and we'll show some of their pictures soon. But there's so much, everyone. Just know that I recognize there's so much going on in the world, Brother Jesse. For instance, there is a hot issue happening here on the ground with a prominent Democratic leader, Ed Buck, and another young black male was found dead in his home. Our sister Jasmine Canick is on that case. I wanted to mention that there's a lot of things happening. Our little sister Jasmine, is it Haley, that was shot and Did I say her last name correctly? Little sister Jasmine.
Barnes.
Jasmine Barnes, thank you so much. That was shot in Houston. And your brother, Derek Muhammad, is right on top of that case. There's a lot of things across the country going on. So I just wanted to mention those, but I want to dig into Mumia and Cyntoia. So take it away, Brother Jesse, and thanks for analyzing that for us.
Absolutely, you're so right. And the thing is that with so many things going on with the injustice system of America, it's real easy to forget about the real political prisoners that we still have locked up and still have a long fight ahead.
That's right.
And one of them is our beloved brother Mumia Abu Jamal, that on the second day of that which is celebrated as Kwanzaa, some people consider the Kwanzaa gift to our brother and those that have been fighting the battle of the last several decades for his freedom, that our beloved brother Mumia was granted the right of appeal.
That's right.
After, brother's been on lockdown unjustly and has maintained his innocence for now the last 30 years.
That's right.
And now people are considering this move by this judge to reinstate his appeals right is a very, very unheard of legal victory. And that, again, the more we look at it and analyze it, it's a big web of continued corruption, where you have a former judge inserting himself and making decisions on cases where he was formerly personally involved in or made decisions in. And now for this move to be made, it presents another opportunity for our brother to appeal and present a case that we all have felt and believed, and you and others have reported on in the final call.
Right.
And those have marched and rallied and done work in the streets and online to show that this case has been flawed from the start. And it's been one of the most polarizing cases for the last several decades. It has drawn international attention. So this is something that we all need to continuously monitor and not forget about.
That's right.
Our brother is one of the most prolific writers that you would ever read about, has been a strong activist even from behind prison. And here's an example of what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stated, that when you're in prison, you don't serve time. You let time serve you. And this brother from behind bars has activated movements in such ways that many outside the jail cell has not. So I just wanted to say personally, thank you to everybody who has continuously stayed the course in not forgetting about Brother Mumia, has not given up the fight, and we thank our brother for being strong. So again, this is another small victory, but we know we still have a long road to go.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I spoke to Sister Mother Pam Africa, and come on now, and she has the flu, and she was going to be on to give us some further insight into what's happening. But one thing she did say was, Sister Charlene, she said, we're prayerful. She said one thing they realize is that the judge, she told me, set it up in a way where the prosecutor would not be able to come back and say that there was a problem, that they needed to look at this, they had a problem, and we have to stretch this out, because appeals can stretch out for very long. So we are praying definitely for our brother Mumia Abu Jamal, as he likes to say. Okay, now, thank you for that. Now, look, Cyntoia, this little baby, her face was so beautiful to see her smiling. Brother Jesse, as you get into it, I want you to talk about, as you tell us what's happening with her, talk about the movement that pushed the groundswell, because what I'm seeing in the news, of course, and hey, anybody who touched this calling for her freedom, I say thank Allah for you. But let's not let it be that I'm seeing in the news that our sister Kim Kardashian or this other young woman, Alyssa Milano, we have some other history with her, right? But, these are the ones that are being put out front that have done this work to get her free. But I think it should be mentioned, like women started this, and then people picked up on this. But go ahead, Brother Jesse, because you're analyzing that for me.
No, it's okay. And, I was so elated to see the news on social media ourselves,
Yeah.
Ms. Brown has been serving 15 years unjustly again. For something that many of us thought that she should not have been locked up for from the start.
In the first place.
So you're right that this announcement, again, is an example that people should not overlook their involvement in things like this on an activism standpoint,
right?
No matter how small you may think it is. No matter if you made one poster sign, if you're the one that set up the speaker, if you're the one that made the banner, if you posted a tweet, you posted it on Facebook, it generated so much attention over the years that while we applaud those celebrities who utilize their big platforms to bring attention to our sisters' cases, we cannot overlook the people that are considered small, because you don't have to be a big shot, to make a big impact, and I believe that this case and this decision shows that small hinges swing big doors.
Come on.
So whatever little bit everybody did is to the benefit of now that our sister, God willing, August 7th, so August 7th will now
take
freedom.
That's right.
And it's such a blessing. Her statement to the governor, attested to was that the transformation they have witnessed our sister do while she's been locked up, accompanied with hope.
Yeah.
Our sister then went in there and got degreed, was in a life program, and she's a few months away from having a bachelor's degree.
First of all.
May,
Yeah.
So she went in there with a focused mind that she didn't get beat down on it. She didn't let it weigh down on her, but she took it as a moment, as a blessing. So when you read her full statement, Sister Charlene, she's thanking God, thanking the Lord that held her throughout this whole time,
Yeah.
And she said, let today be a testament to His saving grace.
Come on now.
Look at the spirit and mind, that she has, though, as well. So I was overjoyed by this. And in the midst of as many of us say that Black America keep taking a lot of L's, and 2019 has started off very rocky.
Yeah.
So this was a breath of fresh air to see this statement put out, and we're so excited that our sister will have a chance to taste freedom. And it also is a testament, as many others are saying, that we have many more cases like this to continuously fight for in every state, in every city. So I pray that everybody will have more hope in knowing that your activism does not go for naught. The fight is long for justice. It's not a moment. It's a movement. So we want to say congratulations to our sister on this decision by the governor. And we applaud everybody that's working. And I know for a fact that when she get out, just watch her activism take off. She's going to be speaking. And she's going to be an example to the young sisters and decision-making and all of that, and she's going to continue to be that ray of light, man.
That's right.
It's so wonderful.
That's right. Thank you. Just a beautiful, and let's not forget, it was a baby, a victimized child. So thank you, Brother Jesse, for that. And I just want to, before we get to our new segment here, which is the Farrakhan factor, but really I think it's just like that, Liberated Sisters, but we're always coming with what's affecting, or the guidance, or the teachings, or the warnings, or the instructions coming from Minister Farrakhan, the battle, the offensive, the attacks that we have in defending him, whatever it is. But I decided that this year I would have a segment dedicated just to him, not just in the generality of the show, but the Justice Report, but a segment in the Justice Report called the Farrakhan Factor, because we must stay on top of what's happening with Minister Farrakhan. And it's rapidly, like I was traveling this weekend and went to sleep, woke up, and there was something going on regarding him, but it was handled. But I do want to say thank you for bringing that before I have you get into the Farrakhan Factor. I want to just let you all know to stay here. Let someone know that we're on Liberated Sisters at Morris Media Live, because we are going to be hearing a clip from Minister Farrakhan before we transition to Sister Anissah Muhammad, who is coming up with Are You Ready? Disaster Preparedness. And so you don't want to miss Minister Farrakhan coming up right after this Farrakhan Factor by Brother Jesse. So, Brother Jesse, what's in our Farrakhan Factor report for today?
As always, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a major factor in the conversations, in those that we know and we don't know. And one of the things I wanted to focus on was during his November 18th address, he closed out talking about what this world considers that holiday season time. Naturally, he called again for the Redistribute the Pain campaign through economic withdrawal, where we stop feeding the economy of those that hate us and those that are killing and those that are sucking the blood from our community. He also talked about acts of kindness. And he said that he wanted us to be loving to one another, to speak a kind word. And I know this was your favorite one, Sister Charlene. He told us don't argue over parking spaces.
Leave me alone, Brother Jesse. I don't do that.
Yeah,
You're wrong for that.
You know, he told us don't be engaging in that road rage that we do sometimes, you know, and people cutting us off.
Yeah.
We want to, you know, but the minister really said that he wanted us to sit down and practice the principles of the man that we consider our Savior, that we're supposed to be celebrating during that time period. The world's supposed to be celebrating.
Yeah.
So he said that he wanted peace to break out in the ghetto and called upon us to sit down with our families and settle our differences. And so one thing about a revolution is something that continuously evolves, and it wasn't just for during that holiday season. He's trying to get us to do something that we should practice every single day, which is the best religion, which is to do unto others as you would have them to do unto you.
Yeah.
So this revolution, as we've been spreading, you know, the graphic designs of it and his clips and words, it has just caught fire, Sister Charlene.
Yeah.
That to the point that people on social media were sending messages to Minister Farrakhan, said that for the first time they didn't buy Christmas gifts, but they just sat down, had dinner with family, and settled differences. If some people said that they hadn't knocked on their neighbors' doors in years, haven't said nothing to them, and went over to just talk to their neighbors and speak a kind word to them.
Yeah.
Didn't bring no gifts or anything, because why? Minister Farrakhan said it doesn't cost you anything.
That's right.
To be kind.
Yeah.
And so then as the brothers been going out in the streets, as we call it, the truth trafficking time period, you know, we
door to door.
We're not dope dealers now. We hope dealers.
That's right.
So in that, as we were going door to door, it was a mother that shared with us that her daughter was on her way over there to have dinner with her for the first time in a while, because they've been at one another's throats, that she wanted to follow the minister's guidance, and they were just going to sit down over a good meal and resolve the beef that they've been having between mother and daughter.
Wow.
And so they were thankful to Minister Farrakhan for calling this revolution. So I just want to admonish all of us that, once again, the Farrakhan factor is now he wants us to make our communities decent and safe places to live.
Yeah.
So if we all will wake up every morning from this point on, first thing you do is speak a kind word to yourself.
First of all,
be
I did.
revolutionary.
I did.
I had to as well. And then, if you really, as my brother Isaiah yesterday, we were talking to some of the young boys at our school yesterday, and then if you're really feeling in a good mood, children listening, say a kind word to your mother. And if you're really having a good day, say a good word to your father.
That's right.
If you really, really own it, say a kind word to your sibling. And then, when you go out your house and you see your neighbor getting in their car, don't just get in your car and be mean mugging. Just speak a kind word to your neighbor.
Yeah.
To your co-worker. And so, Mr. Farrakhan say, soon we'll see peace reign in the same way we saw it at the Million Man March.
Wow.
So that is the Farrakhan factor. It's the revolution of kindness that's not rooted in spending money, but just investing in a good word to speak of kindness, love. And when we do that, then we'll be representing the root thread, the common denominator of all of our religions. And then that'll stop us from doing all the beef, and we'll have more unity. So that's the Farrakhan factor for today.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much, Brother Jesse, for that. I appreciate it. And look, I was honored to write a story about this, the acts of kindness, and we delve more into what's happening, the responses, such as what you shared. And so Final Call readers, viewers, pick up finalcall.com. Inshallah, that story will be coming out very, very soon. Pick it up, the Final Call, finalcall.com. And also, there's some information out of Phoenix that may be shared. So we'll see what happens in the next story, the next cover issue of the Final Call. My guest is just beaming. I can't wait to bring her up. Her name is Anissah Muhammad. Brother Jesse, thank you for the Farrakhan factor. We're going to go ahead now and hear the clip of Minister Farrakhan that brings us into our next segment. Watch the Weather. This is from his his historic, unprecedented series, The Time and What Must Be Done. So thank you so much, Brother Jesse, and we'll see you next week for the Farrakhan Factor.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
That's our Justice Report, and now here is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
You you are not going to let us go. So God is going to contend with you. I don't think you can win that one. For the scripture says he has treasured up snow in the north for that great day of battle. You haven't seen snow like you're going to see it. You can't fight God and win. He turns nature against you, and he's doing that as we speak. He says, I will contend with thee, meaning you, that contends with me, and the two that back me. You don't like what I'm saying, and you wish I would stop, and some of you will try to stop me. That's entirely up to you. But remember, when you plan against me, the plan is already against you, and to prove it, he's going to increase the calamities shortly after you hear this message.
The ingredients are coming together for this recipe for a historic storm in the north and east.
So now you have the Arctic air, now you have two storms, and all the ingredients are there, Sam. The only place that may get missed is if the storm's a little too far east. Maybe New York City doesn't get a foot of snow, but I think southern New England in this red area, batten down the hatches. It's coming tonight.
Blizzard of 2013, 45 million Americans digging out from the snow. And after hurricane-strength winds drove the storm through, the next system now on the way. Sam Champion on that shortly. But first, here are the pictures tonight. Across a half dozen states, images like this one. This guy is snowblower, almost completely disappearing there in 3 feet of snow. And this, so common today, just trying to get the cars out of it. It vanished underneath the white stuff. And look at this tonight, right here behind me. One family actually putting a camera trained on their back deck. And once we speed up the video, you can actually see how quickly it came down, how much, completely covering the lens. And the space image we wanted to show you tonight, this one from NASA. 2 giant systems coming together to create this massive blizzard, and just look at the northeast there, disappearing under a massive storm.
He's bringing hail and snow and floods and tornadoes.
The snow, the howling winds, and the angry ocean. Tonight, New England's monster blizzard is well out to sea, but in its wake, horrendous winds still battering the coast. Waves lashing homes. This woman had to be rescued from her home. For those in its path, it was a back-breaking Saturday spent digging out. 30 million woke up to a foot of snow, 11 million over 2 feet. In Portland, Maine, it was the biggest snowfall ever, almost 32 inches.
Check this out. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. My name is Ronald Grant. And check this out. It's happening right outside my hotel. Look at that. Look at all that damage, dude.
Families in south central Mississippi were in the middle of Sunday supper. All of a sudden, the sky went dark, and then came the sound of terror, a giant tornado screaming through town.
I've never heard it like that. It's hugely loud.
This was the view from a camera right in the tornado's path. Immediate destruction.
There's huge stuff falling out of the sky.
By the time the tornado hit Hattiesburg, residents who recorded these amazing videos say it looked a mile wide.
Wow.
Wow.
Now will you listen? Now will I listen? Now will we listen? Thank you, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, for continuously guiding, warning, trying to get us to just survive. Thank you so much, Brother Minister Farrakhan. We turn now to our guest in studio, Sister Anissah Muhammad. She is the Executive Director of the Sisters for Life Health Equity Group. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, dear sister.
Look at you, gorgeous. Touch my hand, girl. Thank you for being here, Sister Soldier.
It is such an honor and a privilege to be on your show, and I thank you so much for inviting me.
Praise be to Allah. Welcome back. So Sister Anissah, who is also, she wears many hats, but she's also our student Western region for the Nation of Islam's Minister of Health. So she's our coordinator for the Ministry of Health in the Nation of Islam's Western region. This is part of the 9 ministries. Sister Anissah, before we get into disaster preparedness, just give us a synopsis of what are the 9 ministries, and let's go right into what do you have here and what's your message for us today.
Well, the 9 ministries were introduced to America and Black America Holy Day of Atonement 2005. Mm-hmm. The 9 ministries consist of the Ministry of Health and Human Services, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of International Trade and Commerce, the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Prison Reform and Rehabilitation. And I know that I am missing one or
We have
two.
the spiritual, definitely.
Yes. But I know that I'm missing a
Ministry.
couple of them.
Did you say information?
Yes. No, I didn't. The Ministry of Information.
Yeah, Ministry of Justice.
And the Ministry of Justice.
That's right. Thank you.
/ the Ministry of Defense. So
thank you. That's right. That's right. Thank you. And out of that, our sister, again, is with the Ministry of Health. But that also includes disaster prep.
Yes, it does. In the Ministry of Health and Human Services, there is a component of public health. Mm-hmm. And public health deals with disaster preparedness or emergency preparedness. Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved that segment that you just showed of the minister, because in this day and time, for this presentation of Are You Ready? That is the Farrakhan factor. Mm. We have been warned for so long. It's in Scripture. No matter what your faith tradition is, it talks about a day of judgment. It talks about how God is going to chastise the wicked. Mm-hmm. And we already know as Black people how much horror we have endured over time. And now this country is being chastised by Almighty God Allah. You can witness for yourself the torrential storms, the torrential rains, the hurricanes. 7 feet of snow has fallen on the East Coast. 20-foot waves are wiping out lighthouses that have been in existence for many, 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 many years. Just recently, as the year closed out, people are frolicking and having fun at a concert, and a tsunami came in and killed over 200 people in less than 5 minutes. Wow. That is not the total count, body count of those that lost their lives. So as it says in the Holy Quran, while you sport and while you play, Allah is always going to retribute his justice. Mm-hmm. So I began this quest of learning more about disaster preparedness during the, what they call it, the Y2K scare. Remember that?
Y2K, yeah. Yeah.
And I learned a lot about how systems of government and how they do not come to the aid of the poor and the needy.
That's right.
During earthquakes and during disasters. So we are left to fend for ourselves. Yeah. And the best defense is a good offense. So your offense in this day and time is to be ready and to be prepared for what we say we believe and what we say we know is coming. We have to prepare, because if we don't, we're going to lose our lives.
Yes, ma'am.
So there are 4 phases to disaster preparedness: a mitigation, which is planning, the actual preparation things that you do. Then you have, how are you going to respond when that earthquake hits? What are you going to do during the recovery efforts? Los Angeles is in for something that is going to be so horrific, based on Scripture and based on the fact that we have not had a major earthquake since 1994. In my opinion, what is God saving it for?
You sound like my husband, as you can, because I know you're going to give us an answer that but he says that all the time, and he talks about how we're right smack under the major fault that just runs through the state. But go ahead.
We are.
You said, what is God? You know, I get scared when you talk about this.
Because, you know, I don't want to put fear in people.
No,
I mean, because how can you prepare? How can you prepare for a tsunami that's behind a curtain that you don't even see coming? And even if you did, where are you going to run?
Yeah, or like many people said, when they looked up, the water was there.
Yes,
in certain flood zones. But go ahead, sister, because you said, "What is Allah saving it for?" Go ahead.
And I can't answer that.
Yeah,
that's just a question that pops in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I think about that, the only thing I can do is talk about what God said He was going to do. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad mapped it out clearly in Fall of America, that the 4 judgments of God are in America: rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. Horrific earthquakes are on the way. And it's not a whole lot you can do if you get caught in that 38-story building sitting on Figueroa and 7th Street in downtown Los Angeles. And it may rock and it may roll, and for all we know, it may fall over. So if you on floor 30, what are you going to do? There's not a whole lot you can do. However, the best defense is a good offense. So please prepare yourselves. Get things in your homes, because you may get shut in for a while. You may not be able to go outside. You may be driving in your vehicle on your way to Bakersfield or other parts unknown and get trapped on the freeway. You may have to evacuate because your house has been leveled. What are you going to do?
And you know, in Los Angeles, we trapped on the freeway any day just trying to get from Long Beach to LAX. Okay? So we'll go ahead, sister.
So that's okay.
Just some regular travel.
Always have water.
Okay.
Water. You're going to need water no matter what. I have random bottles of water in every cup holder in my car. I have it in my trunk. You need water to wash your hands. If you are diabetic or have been diagnosed as being pre-diabetic, have hard candies and something that will elevate your blood sugar in an instant. Because if you don't, you can pass out and cause harm to yourself or others if you're driving down the street. There are so many different things that we can do. So we're going to take this categorically. If you are shut in, do you have blankets? If your power is out, what are you going to do for light? What are you going to do? How are you going to cook? If you have to cut your gas line off, do you know how to cut your gas line off?
No.
To prevent an explosion? Those are the sorts of things that we have to think about. How are you going to dispose of your waste? Do you have kitty litter in your house? Why do I need kitty litter? Because if you don't, you can die of disease, depending upon how long you're trapped. You need kitty litters because everybody got to go to the bathroom. Bodily functions do not stop because there's an earthquake outside.
Matter of fact, they might turn on a little bit more because of the nervous and panic. No, am I
too much? Yes.
No, am I right?
You're right.
Oh, Anissah.
You're right.
You're
right.
right. Yeah, people get nervous and it's like, bleh.
Trash bags, kitty litter.
Okay.
And if you happen to be one of those type of people that likes to have that little nice fragrance in your toilet in them little colors and stuff like that, stop it.
Why you got to stop it?
Because you may have to drink that water out of your toilet tank one day.
Okay, repeat that. Everyone, many people right now are up on disaster preparedness, but a lot of people not. Get a list. I want you to get some pen and paper wherever you are if you can, and take this down. And also go back and rewind and take down these tips. So you said if we like to smell good.
You know those little cute blue things that turn your water blue
and
you flush
the
your
smell
toilet
good in
and
the
it
toilet.
smells nice.
Yeah, you're saying no.
It.
Okay, stop it. And why?
Because that you may have to drink that water out of your toilet tank. You may have to drink the water that's stored in your hot water heater.
Sister Anissah, when the toilet roll fall in the toilet, now the toilet is perfectly clean, but if the tissue fall out, it's in the toilet.
I said the tank. I ain't say the bold.
I'm just talking about ignorance here. I'm just giving you a peek into the mind. I don't know if y'all suffer with this, but I'm just being honest about me. I'm like, it fell in there. Water clear as a bell. But I'm cleaning and it just fell in there. And I'm like, okay, you're in the toilet.
And that's why God gave people the ingenuity to make soap. Get it out the toilet and wash your hands.
And that's why he gave us sisters like you to make it plain. Go ahead, keep going. Let me take this. This is serious, but I'm just want to lighten it up for me. Ma'am. But go ahead.
If you have children,
Jesus,
the most important thing that you can teach your child is to sit and be still and be quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm saying that because there may be times where it's crucial that no noise whatsoever comes from your home or your apartment. So you have things for them like coloring books and crayons to be able to keep them busy.
Like so.
Yeah, to keep them busy and so that you can keep them quiet.
For the babies.
Yes. Teach them about evacuation.
For me, I'll break this coloring book wide open in a disaster. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, because it is a stress reliever for a lot of people. That's very, very important. Make sure that you have things that your child is comfortable with. A blanket, a stuffed animal, something that gives that child peace. Because there is a lot of things that you're going to need to do as a parent or as a guardian to make sure that that child is at peace so that you can have clarity of thought. Because that's extremely important in knowing what it is that you should do and how you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. Another very important thing is light.
Okay.
You have
light.
If all of your lights, if the lights, street lights and the house light and the electricity is off, do you have flashlights? Do you have those cute little lights that you can kind of put up on your wall and you can just they're charged by batteries and you push them and it'll light the way for you? Mm. Do you happen to have little light sticks like this that have different forms of light? And there's one that you can even use that this same light will blink off and on so that if you happen to be one of them type of people that like to go hiking in the Angeles National Forest, somebody will be able to see that from the sky.
That Angeles National Forest right about now, though.
Huh?
Nothing. Stay out the forest.
Oh, yes, ma'am. There are so I have so many
It'd be like Bird Box.
Little doodads. Charlene, stop. Flashlights, batteries. A lot of us have canned goods that we store in our house. But, you know, if you want to pack some things in canned goods, don't forget to pack a can opener. Because a lot of us forget about that.
Yeah.
And make sure you have more than one kind because they don't make them like they used to.
Yeah.
So make sure you have the old school kind that you really have to screw on, or even the ones that you have to use like this.
You know, we did recently at my house. We just kept, the sister needed to open something. She just kept going around with the pointy thing because I didn't have the kind that turns. You know, when you put it on and the cats hear it and they think you opening salmon cans and they think you opening cat food, but you're not. But go ahead.
But that's very important.
Yeah, that's real. You just go around, just improvise, think about it. But yes, continue.
I've even had to open a can with a knife before.
I know you did it too.
Yes, I most certainly did. You know.
Well, you know what? We used to open Steen's. How many of you all out there know about Steen's cane syrup? Appaloosas. Shout out to Appaloosas. We used to take a butcher knife and knock that can right open.
Yes, ma'am.
They don't make butcher knives like they used to. But go ahead, Sister Anissah. This is a serious show. Okay. And I'm just like going into my happy place so I could process this information. But this is a serious show.
If you're navigationally challenged like me, it's always good to have a trusty compass.
Now, let me see that.
It's a whistle, it's a light, and it's a compass.
All in one. Where'd you get this?
You know what? I picked that up at the strangest place. I got that from AutoZone.
How many? Well, next time, could you just buy 10? And we'll reimburse you. All the people, just buy them all. Yes, take them all off the shelf. I'm going to give you. This is a compass, a whistle, and a what? A light.
Mm-hmm. Always have transistor radios.
Because the compass on here is not going to work. This will be gone, shut down.
Yeah, cell towers are going to be out. So what are you going to do? Out-of-town contacts are extremely important.
In a book, written down.
And not only in a book written down, but even if that's your out-of-town contact, please let that out-of-town contact know that they're your out-of-town contact.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that it's somebody that's reliable, somebody that does not change telephone numbers every 30 days. Because, amongst our people, that happens.
I used to be that person.
And those, it's just real. It's just so much information that I wish I had the time to be able to share. You need gloves.
Excuse me, sister. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this quarterly by Allah's grace, because you can never condense what she has to give. And as a matter of fact, we'll be coming and announcing pretty soon. Sister Anissah and the ministry is having a seminar, and so the whole spread and the visual information that you get, it sometimes it's overwhelming to people when we start talking about disaster preparedness, but because we have lists and card kits, and she's going to continue, but I would start looking at them and I would used to hyperventilate, like, oh my God, this is just too much. So because I didn't wrap my mind around how to start preparing with a little bit, I just froze on it. I don't do that anymore, because one thing I pray and I believe is that I say, okay, Allah, if I do what I'm told, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has told us for decades and decades to prepare our homes. Okay, do what I can immediately, and perhaps that might just be what will be the extent of my disaster. But at the end of the day, you got to pray and work. So what else? You were talking about these gloves.
Yes, ma'am. You need these to protect your hands. If you have to stick your hand in something that's unknown, like a bush, it could be a poisonous spider or a snake in there. Oh, Charlene.
Go ahead.
Really? Seriously?
Sister Rose, Sister Zahira, she said snake. So now Sister won't even watch the show. She can't even hear the word snake. And go ahead, Sister.
Snakes are fun to play with. I have played with them. They're fun to play with. And this little nifty utility tool, I got this from AutoZone too.
Did you give me one?
Girl, I got that like 5, 6, 10 years ago.
Okay, so repeat after me. So I will pick up a duplicate for Sister Charlene.
For Sister Charlene.
Okay, because she's good for it.
Because she's good for it.
Look at this.
Those are utility tools. It's a hammer. It's a wrench. It has like a Swiss Army knife. It has a corkscrew. I can't even open it. All of these things.
Don't give me one. I can't even open it. How do you open it?
You just have to pull on it, ma'am. You see? These are utility tools that can always, you can saw a branch with this, and, knives, corkscrews, a Phillips head screwdriver, and you can hammer something. But I can't
get open it, Anissah. Don't bring those into any master study group. Get chin checked. Leave those in the car.
Yes, ma'am. You see?
Oh, wow, look at that. She did it. Handy dandy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, continue.
So
sister.
there are so many different lovely little tools that I have. This is a corkscrew.
Okay. Now what is that?
This is the tool that every house must have. This is a universal gadget that you can put on, how you have your water main on the street or on the sidewalk?
Yes.
It fits that, and this is for you to turn off your water.
Okay.
This is for you to turn off your water. This is for you to turn off your water. And you can also turn off your gas line with this.
Okay.
So in the event of an earthquake.
Oh, it's light.
Yes, it is.
It looks heavy. I'm like, weapon. Come on.
It's very light. And yes, it can double as a weapon if you need it.
It's really light. Sister Anissah, okay. Can you take us on a field trip, a Liberated Sisters field trip?
Sure.
To a store. Okay. Anybody who wants to go on the Liberated Sisters field trip to the disaster preparedness stores that are of her choice, knows where to get this. We're on Facebook Live right now. Just inbox me, or just don't inbox me. Go right to the thread, because there's so much junk in the inbox. But go right to the thread and let me know if you want to come on the Liberated Sisters field trip. We're going to schedule one in 1 week. Can we do it in 1 week?
Yes, ma'am.
Inshallah. We'll keep you posted. Go ahead. Let's have what we have here. What's this?
This is a light. And I think it's really nifty for children because it's very small.
Yeah.
And
like, pew, pew.
Yes, ma'am. And it's very, very light.
Yeah.
I have a solar-powered radio.
Oh.
I took it out the box, so it's not charged. But it's also, you can hand crank it. It's solar powered here. And if you have the right utilities in your car, you can charge your cell phone, you can charge your laptop.
Yeah.
And there are other things that you can do with this nifty thing. But the most important part is that it has a transistor radio, and you can keep abreast of everything that's going on around you as far as the status of an earthquake, status of floods. It has news announcements and everything like that.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's a lot of little bitty things. And never forget.
That's a whole lot. These are just some very basic things, very small basic things.
You need to maybe light a campfire,
or
a cooking fire. Here's your lighter, and then also this is a fire starter.
Wait,
so it has it just creates friction for you to light to light leaves or branches or something like that for you to be able to create a fire.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, what are these canned goods here like you have there?
Those are cans of salmon that are in little bitty.
We can't see them. Go ahead and get them.
Okay.
But wait. Your earphones, though. You just have to go that way. You can keep your earphones. Why'd you put them all the way over there anyway?
Because I had no.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
This is some chicken of the sea canned salmon. It's got 3 cans in here, and it's basically 1 serving in here. This is something that you should have in your shut-in kit in case you get shut in at home. I would not recommend using this if you have to go camping or you get stuck outside. And I say that because of the smell of the fish.
And
if you get caught downwind, it will not only attract people, it can attract animals to you as well. So you have to be very wise and mindful of the types of food that you store and make sure that you understand that there are foods that you can have to store in your home. There are other types of food that you can take with you. It's, for example, I do have over here canned goods that were canned by me.
Yeah, they look great. Let's bring them all. I want to show this before we go. These are some dill pickles. She canned these September 29th. And where did you can these, dear sister?
In our MGT class.
In our MGT class. The Muslims Girls Training in General Civilization class. This was the name given to the training of women and girls in North America. And so in this class, we are incubated as the female, as women. We learn how to take care of our house, how to rear our children, how to act at home and abroad. We learn how to cook and sew. And so we just came through without putting everything out there, but intense class where we learned how to can. But go ahead, Sister.
Yes, ma'am. This is something that you can have in your house.
Navy beans, white navy beans.
Navy bean soup, the apples, the dill pickles, the beets, the carrots. You can eat those straight out of the jar without having to heat them. And they're healthy, they're clean, and you know that you made them. But this is not something that you can take logically and put it in an evac bag because it's too heavy.
These are the apples.
And it's glass. And it may, if it breaks, you can cause harm to yourself.
Okay.
So you don't want to you don't want to carry that. You want to take something that's lightweight, like this can here. They have cans of green beans and corn and carrots and peas and things like that in little cellophane pouches like Capri Suns. They have that now.
Yeah, yogurt and other things like that.
Yeah, and you can just pull it this way, and then you can, it's like a heat and eat kind of thing. But if you eating out of cans, you don't necessarily need to heat or cook. Yeah. However, I would suggest that you take a portable stove with you. It can be the kind that runs on propane. It could be the kind that uses sternal heat because those kind are very lightweight. That you can fold them up, and sternal heat does not it's not combustible.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit safer for you to have.
Yeah, and I picked one up at Costco. I was shopping for a jump drive, and it was like, oh, here's a portable, and I forgot the other thing and picked that up. Before we wrap up in 5 minutes, can we see that auto kit?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sister. What's that there?
It's just a mask.
Oh, let's have that. Okay. Oh no, just you tell the people.
This is an auto kit, and this isn't a first aid kit for auto. And the only thing that's different between this and a regular first aid kit, and you can buy this out of Rite Aid, out of CVS or somewhere like that, is that it has the triangle. that you put up in the event that your car is broke down, and so that nobody will run.
Oh, very good.
And it has some flares.
Very
I
good.
have road flares in my kit. I have quite a bit of things that I didn't put up here.
Oh, I already know. She has a huge, massive presentation. And you look and say, where can I get this and why don't I have this? But you just start, right, Anissah?
You start. Downsize your cups of Starbucks coffee. Instead of getting the Venti, get the Grande instead. And take that 99 cent or that dollar and some change and go buy a box of Band-Aids. You don't have to start big.
Yeah.
You can start small. These things that I have by God's grace I accumulated them over a number of years.
Yeah.
These are actually some nifty little things. I picked these up at Walmart. They're hand warmers.
Hand warmers. And they're also, I've seen this packaging for seat warmers too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is just kind of crush them to compress them to release the heat. And you can put them in your pockets.
Wow.
In the event that you get caught in they call it the grapevine and you're in the snow and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Those things can kind of keep your hands warm.
Yeah.
There is so much.
Wow.
There is so much. But I can't stress enough of the importance of not only getting this stuff for yourself, but tell your neighbors.
Yes, indeed.
Tell your families, tell your friends, because let me tell you something. During the Northridge earthquake, nobody came to help us. Nobody. We were left to fend for ourselves. Law enforcement agencies, fire departments may not be able to come and help you. Their job is to protect property and then lives. They're not going to tell you that, and if you ask them, they're not going to admit that. But their job is to protect property first and lives. Wow. And they usually go to those that are in areas that are more affluent. When, not if, but when the earthquake comes, we have to remember that there is nobody in it but us and our God. Whether you call him Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, Quetzalcoatl, it doesn't matter. Because the God that we serve is an equal opportunity God, and the sun shines on the blessed as the righteous as well as the wicked.
Chief preacher.
So the destruction and the chastisement is going to come to the righteous as well as the wicked. The Holy Quran in Surah 8 verse 25 says that affliction may not fall on those that specifically that are unjust, meaning that you could be collateral damage, and you don't want to be that. You don't want to get caught with nothing because you're leaving yourself vulnerable. The ATM machines, that EBT card, not going to be working. That cell phone will not be working. So how are you going to communicate with your family members? What if you work in Long Beach and your children go to school in another city or in Los Angeles? What's the contingency plan that school has? If you don't know, you better find out, because your baby is in there. And I'm going to tell you something, LAUSD, they not really ready. They're not. So find out, how safe is your baby at school or at the daycare center? I'm glad that I had to take that pause, and I pause so that you can really stop and think about what you're doing. Truthfully, every Department of Recreation in the parks, those gymnasiums, are supposed to be places of refuge in your community. Do they have what they need in case you have to evacuate your home and walk to the nearest park? Y'all know most black people don't even have a park in their community.
I have two questions. First of all, because you're on the road, I got these questions, and I have an announcement to make about the Sisters Marketplace. I hate to stop your momentum,
That's
but
okay.
I want you to, I'm going to give them to you, and then I'm going to say it again. But so I want you to talk about very shortly why you say LAUSD is not ready, number one. The two is going to be Sister Darlene Muhammad. Thank you for viewing, sister. She says, FYI, one should heat up home canned items before eating to kill any bacteria not seen. I bring that up because someone was saying, I saw somewhere online that said before you eat this, they have to be pressure cooked in the same jar for 30 minutes. I said, I must have a misunderstanding on that. I didn't hear that. But I wanted to see if you can break down any thing that we don't know that's not necessarily true, or give actual facts. And number two, those two things.
Okay.
LAUSD, why?
Los Angeles, their contingency plan is, in the event of an earthquake, say, and it's during school hours, they have to cut off their gas. They have to cut that off so that the children can be safe. What are they going to do with them? They have no cots. They have no food stored up. The only food that they have on the premises is the food in the cafeteria. And most of it is frozen or canned.
Oh, okay.
Do they have any paper plates where they can feed those children? What's going to happen if the children that go there take medication?
My daughter went to a school once, and thank Allah she doesn't suffer this anymore, but there were so many albuterol inhalers, like piles and piles and piles, and her name was on hers, and it was all this identification. But when we went to get it and they opened the drawer, I said, oh my God. First of all, we'll have to come back and talk about all of that. Asthma and other stuff. Ma'am. And then, so the canned good question before we go, I have to make an announcement. But the canned good question in terms of eating these before.
Well,
home canned.
If you canned your foods properly, following the manufacturer's instruction with regard to proper canning, processing the jars, the length of time that they should be processed, not taking any shortcuts, not going around this particular step because this is faster. And if you pressure can your items that are non-acidic, and if you do it properly, you don't have to worry about botulism.
Okay, so we're going to not go too far into, so we don't give people misunderstood or too much information without some more detail. But we definitely will be having this show again. And I think we want to book a special so you can bring everything. Maybe we can book a 2-hour special and you can show people. You have a seminar coming up soon or not yet? Don't say that yet.
No, well, not yet.
We're not talking about that yet. Okay, so the field trip is coming up, the Liberated Sisters field trip. I'm going to get another name for it, but we're going out in the field, and we're going to acquire some of these things, so get your money ready. I'll come back in the near future show and tell you what this is all going to look like, but go to the Facebook thread, the post, or you can go to where we're streaming Morris Media Live and comment there and let me know. Give me your information, how we can reach you, so we can put you on the list when we go out and do this, because we're out of time, really. Right now, we're operating in total grace and total mercy. Total grace and total mercy.
Yes.
There was something else I wanted to mention, but I just want to say, and this information and a lot more of what we're talking about, you really can have it too. We delve through this. We're trained on this in our MGT class, and you're welcome to come. You contact us, but the address for the mosque is 8701 South Vermont Avenue at Manchester. 8701 South Vermont Avenue at Manchester. We meet every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. so you can come to the mosque and inquire about our MGT class. Do that. I want to also now, before we go, announce, thank you so much, Sister Anissah.
Thank you for having me on this, sister.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I feel like I just forgot to say so much, but
no, I know, but we were going to have an hour, and I did shorten the time because when I heard about Mumia and our sisters in Cyntoia, we had to deal with that in the Justice Report. But you'll be back, and there's a lot. Is there anything you want to say before we go? Because if there's anything you want to say before I give the announcement,
Community Emergency Response Team training is free. And we have to get together street by street, block by block, house by house. And if everybody stores up a little, no one has to do a lot. We have to unite and make sure that the street that I live on is safe. That if something happens, nobody's going to come in and nobody's going to go out. And just briefly, in the event of a disastrous situation, whether it's man-made or an act of God, Los Angeles is going to go under martial law, just like they did in 1994. So do not play with that. If you work now to store up things in your house, you will have no reason to go out here and loot and take things that do not belong to you, because you will lose your life in the event that you do. That's just a warning. Take heed to what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is asking us to do. He told us, I think it was December the 12th. Mm-hmm. Watch the weather. What has happened in this country and around the world weather-wise since December 12th.
That's right. I'm so glad you got to say that, sister. And yeah, that brings to mind, as we prepare to leave, that brings to mind the fact that the clip we showed was from his Time and What Must Be Done series. And so the calamities then were from 2013. And that was a fraction of the calamities. But by God, go to finalcall.com and NOI.org, but preferably the Final Call, and as well as Minister Farrakhan's Facebook and Twitter page, Instagram accounts, but you'll see the documentation of all the stories and the different videos on the weather just on this side, where recently in the last, not in 2019, but last year, the end of last year, snow on the East Coast, Southeast Coast, that was in North Carolina?
Yes,
but
ma'am.
Snow more than in a year's worth of snow, they said in a day. Was it a day?
Yes, ma'am.
It's in the Final Call newspaper.
It's in the Final Call. You can go to the National Weather Archives and you can look it up.
Yeah, and you can also,
And more is on the way. So be ready.
Let's be ready. So thank you for that. And come and find out more about the women's class, the women at Mas Mariam, Mas number 27, wherever you are, we are in your city or are very close by. But the announcement right now is we have the Sisters Marketplace on this Saturday. It starts at 1 o'clock. There's the flyer, 1 o'clock, 8701 South Vermont. We're going to have, there's more information on vending. You can contact Sister Charlene Muhammad. It's on the flyer, not me, Charlene. We have another, my big sister Charlene, but we're going to have a fashion show by our very own Queen Amina. So that's this Saturday, 1 o'clock, and I'll put the flyer on my Facebook page. Thank you so much, Brother Jesse, for the Justice Report in the Farrakhan Factor. Thank you so much, Sister Anissah Muhammad, for bringing disaster preparedness awareness to us, and we will have her back, please believe. Thank you, Sister Felicia, the poetess, Morris and Morris Media Studios, for gracing us here, allowing us to be here. And I want to tell you, please support independent media, the Final Call newspaper, LA Sentinel, LA Watch Time, Our Weekly. Stay up on things. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.